touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me.
I'm hiding of you, so lonely. I'm hiding of you, so lonely.
Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep. Till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me. Ain't no stopping me.
Governor Newsom is officially launching a campaign to redraw California's congressional maps, responding to Texas lawmakers who are pushing a similar plan to favor Republicans.
He's been threatening the move for weeks, aimed at boosting Democrats in the 2026 midterm elections.
ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden has been following this story for more than a month, very closely as she's here now. Monica, this battle is obviously bigger than just Texas and California.
Absolutely. It's really become a redistricting arms race, if you will, and it's about the control of the U.S. House. It all started when President Trump urged Texas to redraw its maps, hoping to flip 5 seats and keep Republicans in power. So now Newsom says 2 can play the game, launching a campaign he is hoping will shore up Democratic seats in Congress.
It is a 5-alarm fire.
Gavin Newsom's retaliatory redistricting plans officially in motion. California Democrats launching a counteroffensive Thursday.
To rig the election.
Somebody is trying
called the
to push
Stop
for a
Election Rigging
2028
Response
campaign.
Act.
It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats.
He's promoting a currently non-existent ballot measure.
Find me
Newsom says voters
11,289
will be asked
votes.
to approve new congressional maps
Just kidding.
designed to draw 5 California Republicans out of their House seats.
Under current maps, we need to net just 3 seats for a chance to hold Donald Trump accountable.
California has an independent redistricting commission that redraws legislative districts every 10 years after the U.S. Census. But now Newsom is asking state lawmakers to sign off on new maps, which the California legislature is expected to address next week in order for it to appear on a November special election ballot.
We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process. We're putting the maps on the ballot and we're giving the power to the people.
One effort that
Did you
could
do that in
stop it is a
2020?
long shot proposal by
2024?
Congressman Kevin Kiley.
Gerrymandering
just
is
saying.
a plague on our democracy.
His bill would ban mid-decade redistricting nationwide.
I believe this is an opportunity for us all to
for
take a deep
decades.
breath, to say enough is
150
enough.
years.
I asked the
Now all
congressman
of a
during a
sudden it's
Thursday
wrong.
Zoom press conference about the bill's chances.
This specific request is coming from the president, the leader of your party. Is that something that you see as a major obstacle to getting a more fair process nationwide?
Well, I think the president maybe is starting to look at things differently as well. I think that the full picture that is now playing out was not presented to him in terms of the way that this is now cascading and potentially upending our delegation here in California.
Congressional sources familiar with the draft maps tell ABC7 News that Kylie is one of 5 Republican districts California Democrats are targeting. 9 of California's 52 U.S. House seats are currently held by Republicans.
And although this timeline is moving very quickly, Governor Newsom's plan still faces some major hurdles. First, the ballot measure has to pass in the California legislature next week when they get back from recess. They have a 5-day window to do that. And with Democrats holding a supermajority, it is expected to pass. But then it's ultimately up to California voters who first stripped politicians of this power back in 2008.
Yes, they did. This is something that we've been talking about, for nearly 100 years. Like, come on. We knew that this is not the first time this has happened. We're going to talk about this in our later segment. But before we get started, welcome to ROMA Nation. This is the Rise of Middle America podcast. I'm AK, your favorite guy. And tonight, we're going to go over the biggest stories of each day in the week on Roma Rants. And then we're going to go over gerrymandering because it's on the menu in Texas and in California, So sit back and relax because ROMA Nation starts now.
I'm hiding of you, so lonely. I'm hiding of you, so lonely.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks for me. I know I was off the last 2 weeks. I was over at the Timcast Culture War events. I was running the after parties, but also I was on stage during the second episode where they were talking about policing. And if you guys don't know, you just go onto YouTube or Rumble. You can probably pick up that episode fairly easily. So, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a well-deserved. I wouldn't say it was a vacation because it definitely wasn't. I've been on 7 days a week, for the last 4 months. But when you love what you do and do what you love, doesn't really matter, does it? That's right. All right, so let's go to riseofmiddleamerica.com and check out our lineup of podcasts from history to news, pop culture, true crime. We have a show for all your needs. We also got a Discord where all the magic happens for ROMA Nation. If you want to be a podcast host, producer, researcher, writer for us, this is the only place where you can be a part of the fastest growing podcast community on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, the internet. So, at the top of the page where all the links for all our socials, also our Discord right there. And then down at the bottom, you want to show your support, you can go to the ROMA Nation Network merch site. We have the latest fashion and some great shirts that we've got from Caption This that you guys don't want to miss. If you also want to help us out, you go down at the bottom. There's a PayPal link where you can make a monetary contribution. Help us keep the lights on. We've got documentaries coming up. We've got a new wrestling show that's coming in. We've got a conspiracy show. We just started a new sports show, and that is picking up steam right now. So I want to thank everybody that follows me and that watches us on a daily basis because you guys are the true heroes of tonight and tomorrow and for the future of ROMA Nation. But anyway, so please like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss a moment of the action. Now, without further ado, let's rant.
short while ago in the Oval Office, President Trump signed two crucial executive actions to deal with the emergency crime conditions we currently face in the District of Columbia. The first of these was an executive order, as President Trump said before, invoking his powers under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act to take federal control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Along with that executive order, President Trump signed the statutorily required notification letters to Mayor Bowser and to the relevant House and Senate committee leaders. The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in D.C. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well.
Right. So that was the biggest news story on Monday, 8/11. So let's go to abc.com. Trump puts D.C. Police Department under federal control. I don't think that's legal, but I don't know. I guess we'll check it out in a little bit. Deploys National Guard. In an extraordinary news conference on Monday, President Donald Trump reveals plans to take over Washington, D.C. Police Department and deploy National Guard troops in the nation's capital to combat what he says is rampant, violent crime that statistics show is actually decreasing. Quote, "We're here for a very serious purpose. Very serious. Very," Trump said. "Something's out of control, but we're going to put in control very quickly, like we did in the southern border." Come on, Trump. You really got to make me quote you. Always repeating words, this guy. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from the crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. He said he was declaring a public safety emergency in order to put the Washington Police Department under federal control and station the National Guard on the city streets. Now, I believe that they're going to be alongside federal police, not actually taking over the police departments. But we do have to remember that this is a federal district, right? So he does have the right to do this and declare this. So a lot of people don't understand that. They think that D.C. is just a city. No, it's not a city. It's a district of the federal government. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Right. So I'm okay with this as long as it fixes the problem and the National Guard aren't there for a prolonged period of time. You know, this is supposed to be a temporary solution to clean up, you know, which I would like to say multiple administrations' failures. All right. Whether it's Republican or Democrat, they have failed to clean that city up. And they have the resources, they have the funds, but it's almost like doing so is going to cause some kind of havoc, making it seem like, you know, we're some authoritarian regime. But isn't that what the police are supposed to do? You know, they're supposed to protect and serve, regardless of what the Supreme Court said. I mean, most of the police officers in this country are there to protect and serve, and they're there for you. So, but you also need to understand, like, look at how the National Guard was treated in LA when they went out there. You know, because it makes me wonder, like, since when have we become an anti-military country when it comes to a protection sense? I mean, that's what our military is for, right? They're supposed to protect us, whether it's foreign or domestic. I mean, at least in my mind. But they talked about that crime was going down in DC, right? So let's actually look up some of these numbers. This is from, looks like Metropolitan Police DC.dc.gov. All right. 2025 year to date crime comparison as of August 15th, 2025. The statistics below reflect the data entered into the MPD's records management system as of 12 a.m. on the date above. These are numbers that are based on DC code offense definitions and do not reflect the Part 1 crime totals as reported to the FBI's National Incident-Based Reporting System. This report should be considered preliminary in nature. The reports are subject to change due to subsequent determinations related to amendments in classification, unfounded cases, and changes in offenses and definitions. So let's take a look. All right. So let's go with our violent crimes. All right. So we've got the homicides, sex abuse, assault with dangerous weapon, and robbery. Homicides are down 11%. Sex abuse down 50%. That's good. Assault with a dangerous weapon down 20%, and robbery down just 29%. Again, this is all subject to change. All right, now let's move on to property crime. Burglaries down 19%. Motor vehicle theft down 1%. Theft from auto down 3%. Theft from other down 5%. And arson down up. Wow, arson's up 33%. All right, so altogether here, it looks like crime in total from this time last year is down 7%. Okay, that is a good thing. But it's these numbers right here that matter. Because down 7% from 100 versus down 7% from 17,000 is much different. Context matters, right? So let's go on a little bit further. All right. So let's look at the homicides. 20-year trend. All right. A little over 100 homicides a year. All right. 2012, they went way down. I don't understand that. Well, I mean, it's a good thing, but that's a oddity right there. Then you've got the 12 victims of the Washington Navy Yard shooting incident in 2013 here. But I want you guys to pay attention to this right here. 2020 was COVID. 2021 up to 226. 203 in 2022. 274 in 2023. 187 in 2024, which looks like it's much higher than it was in any other point in time over the last 20 years. I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together on why I pointed that out. Right? Because zero crime is the goal, right? But we know that that's not going to happen. There's always going to be crime. There's always going to be sticky fingers. There's always going to be, drugs and gangs and things like that. But that's what the police are for, to protect us against those things. Because closer to zero is better. But what would you rather live in? Would you rather live in a place where you can take your kids out to the park, where you can go to a national monument and not get heckled? Or would you rather live in the state that they're in right now, showing you the numbers from the previous 4 years? So there's a reason why he's doing this. It's nearly doubled the last 4 years. So you can't think of just the now. You have to look at history, and especially recent history, over the last 4 years. Because I'm going to say it again, this isn't just a Trump problem. This isn't just a Biden problem. Multiple administrations have failed DC, left and right. So fix the problem. All right, let's move on to Tuesday, where Trump departs for Alaska ahead of the summit with Putin. Let's take a look.
President Trump setting off for his highly anticipated meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Anchorage, Alaska, aimed at trying to end the war in Ukraine. You are looking at a live picture right now at Joint Base Andrews. The president left the White House a few moments ago. He's motorcade just now arriving at the base. where we expect him to board Air Force One and then make his way a several-hour flight to Anchorage, Alaska. Cameras are in place here. We're waiting to see if the president speaks with the media, answers any questions before getting on that plane and heading west. We want to bring in NBC News reporter Matt Bodner. Matt, set the scene for us. Once the president arrives in Anchorage later today, what do we expect?
Thanks, Joe. Well, basically, we expect him to essentially roll out the red carpet for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Putin is waiting right now himself in Magadan. That's a city in the far east of Russia. It's about a 4-hour flight from Anchorage. So Putin actually left yesterday. Presumably, they're trying to ensure that he does arrive second. It would be harder to time this if he flew direct from Moscow. But basically, we don't know too much about the specific agenda for the day. Neither side has given us too much information on that. We know this is all set to start not long after both of them arrive, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. That could slide depending on when Air Force One takes off. From there, the two of them will go into a one-on-one meeting with translators. That can go on for quite a long time, Joe. President Putin loves to talk. He's known to really get into it with people he's speaking with. So we could end up waiting quite a long time tonight to hear any news out of this summit at all. We do understand that there will potentially be other meetings taking place with the Russian and American delegation. Mm-hmm. The Russian delegation led by Putin's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, actually arrived in Anchorage yesterday wearing a USSR T-shirt, just to give you a taste of what Marco Rubio might contend with today.
Yeah.
At some point, we will see a joint press conference from Putin and Trump this evening, though.
Yeah.
Nope, he didn't trip. Just kidding. All right. Now, let's head over to the Hill. Trump says progress made, but no deal with Putin at Alaska summit, which is unfortunate. Joint base Almendorf, Richardson, Alaska. President Trump said Friday he made progress on key points during a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, but not specifically what those points were or what disagreements remained to achieve peace in Ukraine. All right. We didn't get there, but we have a good chance, Trump said, signaling that there are no final agreements out of Friday's talks. The president did not take questions or offer any other details. He indicated he would speak with European leaders and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky following Friday's summit in Alaska. Despite both leaders speaking of progress, neither one offered any specifics about what looked like a tangible terms. Quote, "We have extremely productive meeting and many points were agreed to. There are just very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant." Yes. Which is stop killing each other. Right? Because, I mean, America has spoken. We do not want to be a part of this war, regardless of what treaties are signed, right? Because this is not a war that we started. This is not something that we voted for. So there's a reason why people are pushing against it. All right. So I'll answer it. To stop the war in Ukraine. The end. Thank you for watching and have a good night. But Putin coming to the table is a good thing, right? Because now we can document what's going to happen when they leave this meeting. You know, what are they going to say? How are they going to fix this problem? Is Putin going to follow his word? I think he will. But I hate to say it, but Ukraine's going to have to give up some land. Because we're not just going to keep sending money and weapons and things over there just to be wasted on senseless murders. Why would we want to be a part of that? We've already seen what happened with Gaza and Israel. And that fight is definitely not our fight. We should not be involved with that. Because that's not our generation's fight. Now, there are reasons why people have pushed back on that, but that's a whole other episode that we can get into. But I do think that the U.S. is probably going to pull out of funding soon for Ukraine. And then they're not going to have a choice but to back down. All right. And I don't think that Russia is going to sit there and take over all of Ukraine. That's just that would be a suicide mission for Russia. And they know this. So this would be more money coming back to the US, though the military industrial complex will probably not like that. But I mean, we all know how we feel about that, or at least most of us. All right, let's move on to Wednesday, 8/13. Let's go.
Amazon announced on Wednesday that it is expanding its grocery fast delivery option for its Prime members to include perishable items like fruit, milk, and frozen dinners. It's the latest move by Amazon to compete with grocery delivery services offered by Walmart and Instacart. Amazon stock rose as much as 1.5% in Wednesday morning trading, while Walmart slipped as much as 2.5% and Instacart plunged 12% at one point. Amazon shoppers in more than 1,000 U.S. cities, including Phoenix and Tampa, can already get doorstep delivery within hours of placing an order. Amazon plans to expand its fast delivery service to 2,300 cities by the end of the year. The company announced in June it is investing $4 billion to bring same-day and next-day delivery services to more than 4,000 rural U.S. communities by the end of the year as well. Previously, Prime subscribers' grocery orders were fulfilled through Amazon Fresh or Whole Foods. Now the additional service will complete orders through its same-day delivery logistics locations. Prime members who pay about $15 a month or $149 a year will get this benefit for free for orders over $25, which is the minimum required for free delivery for Walmart Plus members who pay $98 a year. Walmart said in May that it will soon be able to offer delivery within 3 hours to 95% of the U.S. population, and that faster delivery speeds are helping drive its business. Between February and April, Walmart reported a 91% increase in deliveries under 3 hours compared with the same period last year. One analyst told Reuters the move by Amazon to lower the minimum order to $25 directly threatens Instacart by enabling customers to use Amazon for quick one-off purchases.
That's amazing. Because I'll be honest with you, I use Amazon for, monthly purchase, things like deodorant and water and things like that. Things that I know that I'm going to use on a daily basis. All right. So I set it up on one day every single month, and all this stuff comes in, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to go to the store. I mean, this is the future. This is what's coming. Right. Soon, you're not going to be able to walk into a grocery store. Nonetheless, be able to order the things that you want, right? Because for some people, yeah, they have time to go there. But for somebody like me, who has a full-time job, who has a full-time business, I don't have time to do that. And what am I going to do? Starve to death? So I have to do these things, right? I have to do what's best for my situation. Now, it's not for everyone, but here, let's go into it. All right. So the fresh groceries are now part of the same day delivery. All right. So Amazon has integrated perishable items like dairy meat, seafood, produce, frozen food, baked goods, all in the same day delivery service. And what this does is it allows customers to combine groceries with their products in a single order. Now, it's going to be available in over 1,000 cities with expansion ahead. And this is, it's mid-August now. The service will reach more than 1,000 cities. It should be already there, with plans to expand to over 2,300 locations by the end of the year and beyond 2026. And just like they were talking about with the pricing tiers, Prime members, like myself, enjoy free delivery on orders over $25. In my region, it definitely does. Orders under $25 incur a $2.99 fee, while non-Prime customers pay a fat $12.99 per delivery which I guess is fair, because if you're paying for a Prime service, you should get certain amenities for yourself. And that's regardless of order or size. But the logistics of freshness is the one thing that I was thinking about. But Amazon leverages the temperature-controlled fulfillment network and recyclable insulated packaging used for like Whole Foods deliveries and things like that. Every fresh item undergoes a 6-point quality check before leaving their centers, which is, which I never did when I worked for Instacart. I mean, I would try to get the best food available, but, if you've got that last piece of lettuce and, there's pieces hanging off everywhere, like, what are you supposed to do? Right? So that helps out. But this is a strategic move to outpace competitors. And the move puts Amazon in stronger competition with Walmart, Instacart, DoorDash, Kroger, Target, all these other places. And it's already triggered notable uptick in Amazon stock, while the competitors all dipped at the same time. So analysts are going to view this as a pivotal shift towards fresh goods and delivery model that could boost Prime engagement. But what I want to know is, are they going to start delivering those by drone? Now, that would be crazy. I don't know how I feel about it, though. I guess we're going to find out soon. All right. And now to yesterday. Let's talk about Hurricane Erin, as we all know. This has implications for this entire weekend.
Taking another look at the tropics, looks like we have our latest advisory, and this is the 5 o'clock advisory. Not significant changes, right? We're still moving west and northwest at 17 miles per hour. It's maximum sustained winds with Erin, 75 mile per hour conditions, and its pressure remains stagnant at 993 millibars. Not noticing any significant changes in regards to the cone here. Still, maybe actually an earlier category 4 coming our way, pushing towards the north. And as it does become a major hurricane, that's what's going to steer it towards the north. Stronger winds tapping into the upper level steering pattern, in which we'll still see the chance for some showers across Puerto Rico. Looks like Santo Domingo, as we move across the Dominican Republic, you'll start to see those showers on Sunday. But look at that tight spin, circulation, all in regard to what's going to be our first major hurricane of the year. Thankfully, as we're watching these areas of high pressure in the upper atmosphere, that's what's causing the recurve towards the north and eventually the east, in which it will stay off of our shoreline, but we'll still see those wave heights increase to 4 to 8 feet across your upcoming work week. So not the best idea to head towards the coast.
Thank you. I do not. Sorry, I was opening up my drink and I forgot to unmute myself. So we'll go back. So Hurricane Erin is officially the first hurricane of the 2025 season. It's going to rapidly intensify over the weekend, potentially reaching Category 4 strength, somewhere between 130, 140 miles an hour. It's not expected to make landfall, but there are tropical storm watches in effect. Also, probably going to be wave advisories, things like that. The storm is anticipated to bring heavy rain up to 6 inches in Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, creating risks for flooding and mudslides, landslides, things like that. Dangerous surf and rip currents. But before it was classified as a hurricane, the precursor system caused severe flash flooding in Capo Verde Islands, which 7 people had died and 4 of them were children, which is sad. But particularly on the island of São Vicente, I think was that São Vincent. It was 8 inches of rain fell in just 5 hours. What you got here, Vash? She said Project Cirrus in 1943 had a hurricane taking almost the exact same path and was heading out east. It did a 180-degree turn and devastated Georgia from the government trying to control hurricanes. Hey, Biddy, how you doing? She's off from Sunset Rants. No, we didn't have Sunset Rants tonight. But she'll be back on Monday. We got a couple extra people coming in on Monday, too. Or either Monday or Wednesday of next week. I can't remember. I'll have to look at my schedule. But we got some new people that have joined ROMA Nation. So you guys will be able to see that, which is awesome. Yes, Funk is here in the audience. But yeah, so the forecast this year is supposed to be above normal with expectations of like 6 to 10 hurricanes and 3 to 5 major hurricanes. But we didn't start early, which is weird. Sometimes it starts in July when hurricane season's from August to November. But it didn't this year. You know, so maybe that's something good to look for or look forward to. But all right, I think it's that time. Let's move over to gerrymandering. On this week's edition of The Middle Ground, let's go. All right, folks, this is Middle Ground where we take a particular subject and we hear both sides of the argument and then come to a consensus to the right answer for everyone. All right, so tonight we're slicing into the slimmest tactics of the American politics, which is gerrymandering. You've heard the term thrown around, especially in the last month. And with election season coming up, what does it really mean? And more importantly, does it hold up to constitutional scrutiny? Right? So let's define it straight. Gerrymandering is when politicians draw voting district lines to rig elections in their favor. That's what it is. Right? Doesn't matter which side you're on, that's what it is. Whether it's Democrats packing cities or Republicans stretching out rural lines like spaghetti noodles, which we've seen in Texas, or as far as Democrats in the states with the bigger cities like Chicago and New York and LA. It's the same game to manipulate the map, to keep your seat, and kill voter choice, as well as holding on to the coveted power in Congress. But guess what? This isn't just a red state or blue state problem. It's a system problem. All right. And it's been going on since Elbridge Gerry, if you guys remember who that is, gave the nickname back in 1812. He carved up Massachusetts like a monster on a map. I don't know if I should probably look up a picture of that. It was actually very funny. They called it the Salamander District. But let's break it down, right? Is gerrymandering legal? Technically, yes. Is it constitutional? That depends on who you ask and which party benefits. The Supreme Court, however, has repeatedly refused to strike it down on a partisan grounds, basically saying it's not their problem. It's a state problem. Each state can do whatever they want in their own states as far as elections are concerned. You know, but that's the rub. Is it about fairness? Is it about power? And the question tonight is, does Congress have the guts or even the authority to stop it? So let's check it out.
Welcome to County Office, your ultimate guide to local government services and public records. Let's get started.
How does gerrymandering affect presidential elections? Gerrymandering is the practice of drawing electoral district boundaries to benefit a political party. It can influence the outcome of elections by creating districts that favor one party. This practice is often used in state legislatures and the House of Representatives. However, its impact on presidential elections is less direct. NN presidential elections are determined by the Electoral College, not by congressional districts. Each state has a set number of electoral votes based on its population. Gerrymandering can influence state legislatures, which can affect how states allocate their electoral votes.
Exactly.
Some states use a winner-takes-all system, where the candidate with the most votes gets all electoral votes. In states with proportional allocation, gerrymandering can impact the distribution of electoral votes. State legislatures can also influence election laws and voting procedures. These changes can affect voter turnout and the overall election outcome. Although gerrymandering does not directly change the Electoral College, it can shape the political landscape. This can indirectly affect presidential elections by altering voter demographics and political power. Understanding gerrymandering's impact helps in recognizing its broader implications on democracy.
Okay, so what's good about gerrymandering, all right? Because there's always going to be two sides to the argument. So defenders are going to say it allows cohesive representation. Like-minded voters can help out minority communities to have a voice. You know, it's a tool used by both parties, not just one side. Therefore, critics argue it's politically neutral in theory. All right. But some argue it leads to stable elections and prevents constant swings in congressional control. I mean, that's a hard argument, though, because look at what happened to the states, or at least the swing states, over the last three elections. It was like bump, bump, bump. It was crazy, right? Because those swing states are now becoming like cherished territory. And it's something we're going to have to watch out for over the next probably 3 or 4 election cycles until the Supreme Court either has to jump in and do something about it or until Congress does something about it. But I guess, yeah, you're right. The Supreme Court can't do anything until Congress creates laws, and then they have to see if it's constitutional or not. Right. But what's bad about gerrymandering? So it destroys competitive elections, letting politicians choose voters instead of the other way around, which is true. Right? Because it disenfranchises entire regions. You know, you move to a state because you like the politics of that state. You go into an area in which you like the politics of that area or town or region, and the next thing you know, in your neighborhood, 3 or 4 of your houses are carved out to somebody else, and then you don't have a voice. Where's the fairness in that? You know, it exacerbates polarization, creating districts where only the extremes can get elected, pushing parties further apart. You know, and then, of course, you've got, which is illegal, racial gerrymandering, where it targets minority populations, but it still happens under the radar. Because one side will say, oh, well, why are you trying to carve out my district? You know, it's 90% black. You're a racist. But who set that district in the first place? Because this works in the other direction as well. So what can Congress do about it, right? They can do something about it, but barely, all right? Because the Constitution gives the state legislatures the power to draw districts. But Congress can regulate federal elections under Article 1, Section 4. And then you've got the For the People Act, H.R. 1, and John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act that propose national standards, including independent redistricting commissions, but they stalled in the Senate. And then, of course, you got that famous case of Rucho versus Common Cause in 2019, that partisan gerrymandering is a political question, not one for federal courts. So it's up to Congress or the states to act. Because you got to remember, you look at states like Florida, California, Michigan, Arizona. They have independent commissions, independent, but others don't have the same conformity. But it's probably because each of those states have a supermajority in which there's not really much that you can do about it. So let's talk about the gerrymandering in Texas.
Texas House Republicans unveiled their proposed redistricting map today, which aims to secure 5 new Republican seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. Part of the plan targets 2 Democrat seats in North Texas. Republicans hope the new maps will increase their chances of holding the House in 2026. Democrats plan to protest the redistricting process, and Fox 4's Casey Stiegel has a closer look at it all tonight. Casey.
Yes, Steve, good evening. The newly proposed maps that we're talking about here suggest redrawing some of the districts in order to pick up 5 GOP congressional seats. 2 districts on the proposed map, 32 and 33, are right here in North Texas. And tonight we're hearing from one of those Democratic lawmakers who calls the move a, quote, corrupt and racist power grab. Congresswoman Julie Johnson is no stranger to politics. After serving 6 years in the Texas House of Representatives, last year voters promoted her to Washington, elected to serve Texas's 32nd congressional district, which encompasses much of East and Northeast Dallas, plus parts of Collin and Denton counties.
My current 32, it's very compact. It's very urban. I don't have a single rural area in that. I don't think there's a single plot of farm in 32 currently.
Now, under the proposal, Johnson's turf would be taken out of Dallas County and include a large portion of East Texas. The freshman congresswoman says those revisions.
Look at that. Look at that right there. I mean, I can understand certain areas, but when you look at this spot right here, right? Or you look at this, you see how it comes down and into different areas. I mean, Texas, their counties are pretty square. I think, obviously, you're going to have to count for population control and things like that. But what's up with this? And obviously, this is Dallas here, so it's going to be all rigged up in a different area. Why can't we just have as close to a square as possible? Right? Why does it have to be a straight line? I can understand in the rural areas because there's just less people that live out there, so you're going to have to represent somebody. But how exactly do you do that in some of these larger population centers, right? So let's continue.
Are designed to favor Republicans.
And it's just ridiculous, and it's partisan gerrymandering. It's dirty politics at its worst.
A sentiment echoed by Democratic Congressman Mark Veazey, whose current district, number 33, would be reshaped to exclude all of Tarrant County, which he's represented for more than a decade.
Republicans are trying to redraw those districts to take the Fort Worth part of Veazey's district out, strand him because his home will no longer be in the district, and knock him out of Congress. Maybe Julie Johnson can run in the newly configured.
Yeah, but you know how many people in Congress? Hold on, let me get this out. You know how many people in Congress that are representing people in states that they don't even reside in? And this is on both sides. So spare me with that. There are people in Virginia. I'm sorry. There are people that are representatives in New Jersey that live in Virginia or that are originally from Virginia. And they just happen to have a residence there. So there is no such thing as representation from your own communities anymore. It's just about how can I get there and how can I retain that power? We all know this. Like, come on. So let's stop playing this game as if like gerrymandering was just because, you know, we've got more of a population or because there's there's an issue with who's in what area or what not, because most of these people are probably not even from those areas. So it's not real representation.
District, but they might have to run against each other.
In Central Texas, districts 35 and 37 would essentially merge, forcing two Democrats, Greg Casar and Lloyd Doggett, into a primary battle. The new map also reshapes 4 Democrat-held districts around the Houston metro and 2 predominantly Hispanic districts in far South Texas.
And I am willing to cover any bet that says that the Trump Justice Department will find the new districts created at Donald Trump's instruction to be legal and constitutional.
President Trump and other Republicans have not been shy about their reasoning behind the redistricting. They see it as a way for Texas to add more GOP representation in the U.S. House of Representatives.
And they talk about the race war. Like, I'm sorry, but I hate to say this, Democrats. You're not going to win on the race war anymore. All right, that's over. That's over and done with. People see the game. They saw what happened in 2020, and they're not falling for that again. You can scream to the top of your lungs. You can harness all the power of the major corporations and newscasts. It's not going to work anymore. You have to, you need to find a different direction right now because you have no leadership. You have no direction, and these tactics are just not going to work anymore. You need to find a new strategy. Now, I know you guys are wondering because, Gavin Newsom has been in the news as of late as well. Because, again, we talk about, is it race-based? No, this is party-based. They don't go by what your race is. Your race doesn't matter. They can't tell just by looking at your face who you're going to vote for, even though, historically certain people vote for certain parties, but not all of them. They know this because they know what your registration is and where you live. So that's how they figure that out. So it has nothing to do with race. They can't do it just by looking at your face. But if you go back to Texas, the lawmakers, they've unveiled a draft congressional map that would flip 5 concurrent Democratic seats to Republican control and in targeting areas around Austin, Dallas, Houston, South Texas. Right. The Brennan Center is also flagged Texas, North Carolina, Wisconsin among the states with severe partisan. All right, so this is MSNBC as GOP radical Texas map is unveiled. Vance picks an odd time to whine about gerrymandering. Texas congressional districts are already heavily gerrymandered. In fact, under the current map, Republicans in Texas tend to get roughly 55% of the vote, but end up with roughly 2/3 of the state's U.S. House delegation. Donald Trump has decided that's not good enough, and in radical gambit, the president has directed the GOP-led state legislature to launch a mid-decade redistricting scheme under the White House vision. Republicans should hold for 30 of the 38 seats instead of the current 25, which give the party nearly 80% control over the Texas delegation. All right, so what do we got here? Oh, shucks, it's nothing. They should get $250K a year and no more outside money. Yes, I agree. The outside money, but I mean, there are a couple of somebody's got to bring that to the Supreme Court and figure that out. We only have 2 congressional districts. It's been that way since 1970. Agreed. Obama said it himself, elections have consequences. Gerrymandering is one of those consequences. Also agree. So what are the people of Texas? How do the people of Texas feel about this? Like, you're going to have your activists, you're going to have all these people. What about the normal, 9-to-5 workers, middle America? Like, how do they actually feel about them? Do they even care? Do they even know what's going on? Because Trump has gained popularity and steam all over the country. So, like, there's a reason why these things are happening. But then again, you also have, the immigration issues and, the census issues and things like that. And maybe Texas is just trying to get ahead of that. And so, you know what? Let's fix this because they're the one state that really got screwed over when it came to immigration. You don't believe me? Go look at Joseph Trimmer on X and look up all the stuff that he's pulled up. Because he definitely knows. He's got all the skinny on that. Now, let's move over to North Carolina. All right. And again, see California, Colorado, New York. And the federal government cannot force these laws. So let's see what North Carolina has to say about that.
Well, normally states only redraw once after every census, but after a court ruling opened the door for partisan gerrymandering, Republicans here in North Carolina saw an opportunity that paid off with them netting 3 seats in our state alone. Take a look. These were the results from 2022 under the court-drawn maps. It netted an even split, 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans. But once Republicans in the legislature changed the lines, this is what it looked like in 2024. The plan was to target 3 Democratic members of Congress, 1 in Charlotte, 1 in the Triad, and 1 here in the Triangle. And that is exactly what happened, flipping 3 of those seats. And in order to see how that was done, you can see how that happened just in the new shapes. This is District 13, which is currently represented by Triangle Congressman Wiley Nickel, a Democrat. You see the shapes pretty even. The top half, blue Wake County, the bottom half, more red in Johnson County. That is what made it a true swing seat. But when you see how the new lines were, it looks drastically different in shape. Look at this. Multiple counties added, and instead of having more of blue Wake County, it now makes a hook going all the way from Person County down south to Lee County, and that made this a solidly red seat that Republicans ended up winning by 18 points.
I think it's safe to say that I don't like this either. I don't like this. You look at that little thread right there in the center. Right here. It's clear that they know exactly what they're doing and why. It's not because of race. North Carolina is very diverse. I like to call it country hood. That's North Carolina. And things like this is what brings alarm bells up to Congress, to try and make legislation against the states that's already been neutered for power the last 100 years or more. But it's almost like, can we actually go back? Is it possible to go back and have fair elections based on the states having the utmost power when it comes to those elections? I mean, I couldn't tell you. And the internet has definitely changed a lot about that. And of course we've gone from paper ballots to electronic ballots. you know, who's to know what's doing what. We've already seen what happened in Georgia in 2020, which was really, really bad. Look up in Michigan, things like that. But we already had that episode. You guys can go back and watch that one. But as far as North Carolina is concerned, Republicans in both states, they're exploring redistricting options mid-decade to protect their House majority, is what they're saying. You know, a strategy described as stealing enough seats to fortify control. I mean, in Texas, I think they have a reason to do so, and I think they have a right to do so. North Carolina, I'm going to have to see a little bit better of a reason for that. All right, because the Supreme Court, remember back in 2019, Rucho versus Common Clause decision removed judicial oversight over partisan gerrymandering, transferring the power to state legislatures and paving the way for aggressive maps in Texas and in California. And I can't wait to see what California looks like soon. Right. So this is from We Are Liberal. What is Rucho versus Common Cause? If you guys didn't know, let's find out.
What is Rucho v. Common Cause? Have you ever wondered how the lines of congressional districts are drawn and what impact that has on our elections? Rucho v. Common Cause is a key Supreme Court case that tackles this very issue. In 2019, the Supreme Court addressed whether federal courts can intervene in cases of partisan gerrymandering. This case originated from challenges to congressional district maps in North Carolina and Maryland. Voters and organizations argued that these maps were unfairly designed to favor one political party over another. In North Carolina, the maps were seen as favoring Republicans, while in Maryland, they favored Democrats. The plaintiffs claimed that these partisan gerrymanders violated several constitutional protections. They pointed to the First Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, among others. The central question was whether federal courts had the authority to decide on these claims of excessive partisan gerrymandering. Lower courts had ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, declaring the maps unconstitutional and justiciable, meaning they could be addressed in court. However, the Supreme Court reversed these decisions with a narrow 5-4 ruling. The court held that claims of partisan gerrymandering are political questions that federal courts cannot resolve. They argued that there are no clear standards for courts to apply in these cases. Thus, the court decided that these disputes should be settled by state legislatures and Congress, rather than the judiciary. From a liberal viewpoint, this ruling is seen as a setback for democratic fairness. Partisan gerrymandering distorts the principle of one person, one vote. It dilutes the voting strength of certain groups, which can rig elections and undermine representative democracy. Although the court acknowledged that partisan gerrymandering is incompatible with democratic principles, it did not provide a judicial remedy. Instead, it left the issue to be tackled through political processes or state-level reforms.
State legislatures.
The implications of this decision are significant for democratic institutions. It allows political parties to manipulate electoral boundaries without federal judicial oversight. This can entrench partisan advantages and weaken voter influence.
Yeah, it does. To the people, for the people, by the people. So if the state doesn't like it, then get out there and talk about it. But I guess nowadays it's kind of hard to do that because we've got the internet and, you know, we've got trolls out there just trying to throw wrenches into every cog. But it's very important to remember that you look at certain states, like swing states, for example. The swing states, there's always going to be back and forth banter and different changes in certain communities because of the way that the country is going. Because sometimes it's not even about how the state is going, it's about how the country is going. That's where you get a lot of the independent voters to come in and to weigh in with votes, because they're the ones that truly choose who's up at the top. As far as the states are concerned, who knows? But this is from, let's see, got ABC 7 here. If I can get it pulled up for you guys. There we go. Boom.
Terms really around the corner at this point. Political leaders nationwide are strategizing about how to retain or maybe even flip key seats in Congress.
Yeah, Texas's governor is calling a special session where redistricting is on the agenda, and Governor Newsom is suggesting California might retaliate if Texas redraws its maps to benefit Republicans.
ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden is here. And Monica, California's redistricting process obviously is very different from Texas.
Yes, very different from Texas. In Texas, the Republican-controlled legislature is responsible for its redistricting, whereas California uses an independent commission to redraw its maps. And Governor Gavin Newsom is saying that maybe California should stop playing fair.
They're playing by a totally different set of rules.
In an interview with liberal news outlet, the Tennessee Holler, Governor Gavin Newsom suggests California should abandon its independent redistricting process.
In a state that I assure you, with 2/3 majorities in the legislature, could gerrymander like no other state.
So what's the difference between redistricting and gerrymandering? We asked political professor Melinda Jackson to explain.
Redistricting is a process that is actually mandated every 10 years after the census in order to make sure that the districts are evenly distributed. We don't want to have a district that has 10 times as many people as the one next door, right? It should be approximately equal across the population of a state. Gerrymandering is the term we use to describe districts that are drawn to advantage one group or another. So even though the goal is to have approximately equal populations in the districts, where those district lines are drawn can sometimes get quite creative.
Because Texas lawmakers draw their own maps, the end result is often oddly shaped districts like these.
Partisan gerrymandering has not been found to be unconstitutional. If that state legislature is primarily responsible for drawing the districts, there's an incentive to try to give an advantage to their own party.
Well, it should be up to the states. But I don't know how you fix this. And especially with a state like Texas, where you have 4 major city masses and then a bunch of space everywhere else. How are you supposed to do that? What is Congress supposed to do about that? And that the liberal argument, I understand, right? Because eventually you get to a point to where you're too big in a population center and you're going to have to slice it up into other areas in order to make it fair. But I believe that there are other arguments that you can make under that are very similar. So this is from the older millennial, all right? And he actually has a couple good points as a counterpoint to that.
I absolutely love this tweet from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. He said, Republicans have tossed the rule book out. Here in Illinois, we will do whatever it takes to preserve democracy. Yeah, bro, we noticed. But I guess this is what preserving democracy looks like?
Yes.
Having the most gerrymandered state in our nation's history?
Hold on.
Guys, look, if you're going to complain.
The left claims that the right is playing by different rules, but the right is playing by the rules that the left set. The problem is that the left didn't agree to the right doing what they do. Exactamundo. My goodness, you like, I was thinking it and then you said it. Like, this is exactly it. And this is the same thing when it comes to Donald Trump and all the court cases that were put up against him. And now that he's turning around doing the same thing, it's like, well, wait a minute. We didn't ask for this. You can't do that. But you set the precedent. You set the precedent. So how many colors are going to be shown now? I think we're seeing that in broad daylight. Let's continue.
About the redistricting in Texas, I just wanted to show you this. This is what Democrat states have done in just 2021. Now, this one was in 2011, but Maryland redrew its 6th district to flip it Democrat, securing a 7-1 seat advantage. And then Illinois eliminated 2 GOP seats, created 1 Democrat seat, got a 14-3 edge. New York drew the map for 22-4 Democrat seats, which was later struck down by the courts. In California, where they have an independent commission, it's 44 Democrats to 3 Republicans. In Massachusetts, they redrew it so they got huge amounts of Democrats in every area, and they have a 9-0 advantage. In Oregon, which, by the way, if you have never looked at their district map, holy shit. But yeah, they redrew it for a 5-1 Democrat advantage. New Mexico drew their lines to make sure it was 3-0. Nevada redrew it to make sure it was 3-1. Again, just making sure that every Republican district had huge amounts of Democrats in it as well. And of course, New Jersey did it too, because if Democrats are doing something stupid, New Jersey's going to get involved. Guys, look, like I said before, you're more than welcome to be pissed off about redistricting and gerrymandering. But here's the thing. If you're going to be mad about it, be mad every time it happens. Don't just get mad when Republicans do it.
Exactly. And unfortunately now with the internet, everybody sees this. They all see this. Because California, is it really an independent commission? Like, can anybody now tell me, can they vet and tell me exactly the names of the people on this independent commission? Can you? Anyone? Yes, Biddy. In New Jersey. Oh boy, yeah, New Jersey's got some weird stuff going on up there. The 2-tier justice system is one of those problems that happened to Trump during the swamp. He campaigned on it in both first and second term. Have we seen the drainage? The drainage? Hell no, we haven't. No. I mean, he's attempting to do it now, but it might be too little too late because he only has 3.5 years left. Jersey smells. Oh, man. But yeah, so local analysts argue that Texas' plan to engage in cracking down and packing, diluting minority vote strength in districts held by Black, Latino, and Asian communities. Again, that's not going to work this time because Democrats are going to lose from here on out until they stop race baiting. People don't want to hear that anymore. You need to find a different strategy. But let's talk about implications. Because the moves signal escalation of mid-decade redistricting warfare, as we're seeing in California, addressing both partisan and radical representation issues ahead of the 2026 midterms. But gerrymandering, it's not just a political strategy. It's battling over who gets to elect whom. So the Rucho decision and how mid-decade maps become viable, this is just, where do we go from here? What's proposed in each state, political and demographic impact analysis, and then also reactive strategies from other blue states. Are other blue states going to say, okay, well, we're going to do the same thing? Now, they have every right to do it, but at this point, what's going to stop them? And then what's the broader implications in the future? The future of democracy, the future of a constitutional republic, and reform strategies. Now, I've got one more video that I'm going to show to you guys. I think it's very important because I think this guy hit the nail on the head. All right. So let's try it.
Did you know that the Democrats have already redistricted Illinois, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Maryland, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. But now that the Republicans want to redistrict Texas, the Democrats have fled the state. And the funniest part is, not only are they facing civil arrest warrants and a $500 per day fine, but when they left Texas, the state that they ran to is one of the ones they already redistricted. Take a look at the Illinois district map before the Democrats got a hold of it and after the Democrats got a hold of it. What's going on with District 13? And if that's not hypocritical enough to piss you off, then you should hear the threats they're making. Democrats are saying that if Texas is successful with its redistricting, they're going to do the same thing in New York again, and they're going to do it in California. So even though they've already done it in 8 states, Texas is not allowed to do it. And if Texas does do it, they're going to do it in 2 more states. Clearly, it's all about trying to win votes in the midterm. But if you let a Democrat tell you, they'll claim up and down it's to protect your voice. They'll swear up and down that all of this is just to make sure that your vote counts. You know, the same way they wanted to make sure your vote counted when they kicked out Joe Biden and installed Kamala Harris without a single one of your votes.
Whoops. That was a mic drop moment. Now, it may seem like I'm picking on Democrats right now, but they brought it upon themselves. That's 2 examples that I just showed you. But yet now you want to complain? Now do you see why you're losing? Now do you see why people don't trust the words that are coming out of your mouth right now? I used to be a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. But I saw this 15 years ago. And that's why I created a show about it. So, final thoughts. So when it comes to gerrymandering, so Texas and California, they're 2 heavyweight fighters, all right? You know, they're the 2 biggest states in the union, different weight classes. In Texas, you hear folks say it's about protecting political advantage, ensuring that rural voices aren't drowned out by urban growth, which is true, and also the crap that they've had to deal with over the last 15 years of this immigration crisis. I get it, right? So, but the supporters argue the same game every party plays. So if you got the pen, you draw the map to your benefit. In California, even with the Independent Redistricting Commission, critics claim that that partisan influence still creeps in through public testimony and behind-the-scenes lobbying. So the idea of a pure process, maybe of political fairy tale, 44-3, come on. It's 60-40 in California, and you're telling me it's 44-3? But here's the flip side. When lines are drawn to maximize one side's power in communities that get sliced apart, competition dies, and voters end up feeling like their ballots don't matter. And it's been like that for a couple of decades now. And that's where the bad comes in. There's less accountability, more enriched incumbents, few reasons for politicians to actually listen to everyday people. Because they're too busy trying to figure out how to keep their own seat instead. And now people are sounding alarm like it's some new scandal, but the truth is that gerrymandering has been a part of the American political playbook for over a century. And what's changed isn't the practice, it's the spotlight. Because social media, data-driven mapping, razor-thin majorities means every district matters more than ever. So maybe it's not that we suddenly care about the fairness. Maybe it's that the stakes have finally gotten too high to ignore. Because Texas draws with bold strokes, but California claims the color inside the lines. But in the end, the same old picture emerges. Politics finding a way to shape the map before the map shapes politics. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Make sure you go to riseofmiddleamerica.com. Check out our new news, rants, deep dives, as well as all of our socials. Upper right-hand corner. Also our Discord. Help us make us the largest Podcast Network on Rumble and the internet. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Don't miss a minute of the action. You want to support us? All these ugly faces right here, including mine. Please show your support. Go to ROMA Nation Network merch here on the ROMA Nation site. Or you can go down to the bottom of the PayPal, make a monetary contribution to help us keep the lights on. We got a lot of stuff coming for you guys. We've already started, like I said, with the sports show. We've got a show every single day of the week. So thank you guys for coming in, helping us out, doing everything that we do. I do this for you. All right, I'm up 100 hours a week for you guys. Doing everything we can to give you all the different news, pop culture, sports, everything we got. All right, so again, like, comment, and subscribe. You can join us for $5 a month across all platforms. Thank you guys so much tonight for joining us. And you have a great night. I will see you next week. No, I'm not off next week. I promise. But thank you. And we'll see you then.
Hustle in my veins, no rest, no dream, trying to make a way. Whole team gotta eat. No sleep, gotta keep going. No sleep, till the world know it. No sleep, till the world know it. No sleep, till the world know it. I've been moving like a clock, don't stop, no breaks, no rest, no time to flop. Gotta get it while I'm breathing, never taking a loss. See the pain in my eyes, but the vision stay locked. Ain't nobody finna hand me a thing. Came from the bottom, I rose through the rain. Hustle like I never had a meal on my plate. Now we eating so good that the hunger remains. Fast lane, never slowing my pace. Tell them I was built for the chase. Every night trying to double my worth. Put my name in the sky, make it shake up the earth. Oh, I ain't getting no sleep till I touch that peak. Oh, I've been grinding all week. Ain't no stopping me. Late nights turn to early moans. Put the work in till the break of dawn. They was sleeping on the kid, now they call my phone. Now the city know my name, I've been putting them on. Ayy, tunnel vision when I step on the field. Gotta keep it real, never sign no deal. Independent, gotta get it, never needed a cosign. When the world told me wait, I was like, no time. Tell them I was built for this. Every verse that I spit got a hit or a risk. Never fold, never quit, let them know I exist. Till they call my name and go, let it shine like this. One shot, one chance, I ain't wasting a second. I've been working through the storms, now the sun stay blessing. Ain't no sleep when you live in a dream. Gotta grind every day for the light.